before people get too consumed with, um, chasing clicks or chasing numbers on a dial, like we just need to remember like what's the point of what we're trying to achieve here. And with suspension, there are so many variables. Mountain biking is such a dynamic sport. From day to day, we're riding different trails at different speeds with different people. Even like if we're coaches, I mean, our own bikes are set up for a huge range of riding. Mm. And with that, like it's a little bit unrealistic for us to think that there is a perfect setup out there. We're looking for the best compromise, which presents the least amount of sacrifice. So we're not giving up too much in any one area. For example, it's too soft or it's too fast or it it doesn't have enough grip or whatever. Like there's just too much out there. So we're trying to find that happy medium, that sort of Goldilocks zones or that window that represents the best compromise for us. Um, and when we're searching for that compromise, I think it's really important that we know what we're trying to look for. Like what are the adjustment sort of windows and like what are the outcomes that we're trying to feel as riders. And the way I like to talk about spring rate is, say if we're going to be going firmer and softer, each one of those ends of the scale is going to carry or introduce uh, a characteristic. So if it's going to be on more on the firmer side, then it's going to bias a little bit more of a supportive feel. It's not going to use as much travel, um, and it might sacrifice a little bit of traction. And that's the other end of the scale. It's like if we make it really soft and we prioritize traction, that might suit a rider that's maybe slightly newer to the sport. Um, they might ride in slightly different trails to us, but all of us should be trying to find our perfect slot on that sliding scale of support on one end or the firmer side of things and traction on the other end where it's nice and soft, plush. Um, and the outcome should be that we feel in control. Like when we're in the right adjustment window for our spring rate, it should feel like we're just talking the same language. Our bike is not trying to fight us. Our intuitions, our movements are getting through to the bike, and the bike feels like it's helping us rather than hindering us. Um, does that make sense? Sweet. Um, the number one thing that I come across with spring rate adjustments or any suspension adjustments is that once you kind of commit to engaging in this process of testing and improving your own knowledge on suspension, is don't underestimate that it does take some time, which is tricky because a lot of us have got time pressures and we don't often have 3 hours to go fiddle around with our fork pressure. Like we probably just want to go for a ride. But um, the process of making these adjustments, it's not complex. Like it's easy to do. All we need is a shock pump or a different coil spring. We just need to be motivated and ready to commit the time and focus into finding our own sweet spot on that scale of, too firm, too soft, and then just right.
I think, I mean, to that point, one thing I love about coaching is um, when you're busy and there's lots of coaching, um, it's in a way, it's a perfect time to play with your setup because you've got so much mileage. If you're coaching for 3 or 4 days, 5 days, just every day, pick a slightly different spring rate. Takes you a couple of minutes to do to your fork or your shock. And as Shanna said, most people have air shocks pretty much everywhere. It's the majority of what people run. And yeah, if you're coaching for a week, just that's a perfect thing you can do before you head out and coach every day is change your spring rate. And you're coaching, so chances are you're not going to be riding anything too crazy. So it's the perfect environment to ride your bike a little firmer for the day or ride your bike a little softer for the day because you're coaching your students. So chances are the trails you're riding are the perfect place to kind of just go feel your bike and yeah. Side note, sorry.
No, no, it's good, man. Um, One thing that I try to instill in myself whenever I'm trying to test things is like, don't be afraid of making pretty big changes.
Mm,
You might need to adjust your riding so that you're not over committing to riding the same trail the same way you always do. So maybe you might just back off a touch, but don't be afraid to, for example, if your fork pressure is 100 psi, try 120, then try 80, and it will give you a much better chance of feeling the effect of those changes.
mm,
Be a little bit unrealistic and unreasonable to add maybe 2 psi here or there, particularly if you're less experienced with this or you're new to it, to expect to feel big changes. So don't be afraid to like go big so long as it's not like crazy unsafe or it's going to damage the equipment. Plus or minus 10, 20%, go for it. It'll give you a really good chance to feel it.